All right, second half of chapter 8. Sorry, kids. Everybody's got to come outside right now. You too, Daddy-O, and you too, Willona. I've got a surprise. Dad made a stop at the front door and get in line, one behind the other. Mama first, then Byron, then me, then Joey. Except for bald-headed Bi, we were all laughing and wondering what Dad's surprise was when he opened the door. Following Dad, we walked down the front porch steps and stood on the sidewalk like a little parade. I bet the neighbors wondered what the weird Watsons were doing this time. All right, Dad said. When I say it, I want everybody to close their eyes. And I'm warning you, anyone who looks before I tell you to is going to get it. My eyes, of course, would be sealed. If a bomb exploded under me, I'd be standing in the hole with my eyes sealed. Even if my head got blown off, they'd have to say, "Here's that kid's head," and yep, his eyes are locked tight as a safe. Byron said I was stupid for listening to everything that Mama and Dad said. But if I was so stupid, why was he the one who had a great, big, bald, shiny, knotted-up head? Dad said, "Okay, now hold the person in front of you by the shoulders. Willona, you hold on to mine. This is only going to take a minute." He said the last part because Mama rolled her eyes and was real close to stopping everything by turning around and going back into the house. All right, close them. Mama gave her last straw look and closed her eyes. Then so did we. Dad shuffled us ahead a little bit, and then we all stopped. It was real hard not to peek. Okay, keep them shut. I'm not playing. I heard a car door open, heard a loud pop, then heard Byron say, "Aw, man." Me and Joey cracked up. We knew a certain person had peeked and got popped, right smack jab on that bald head. Finally, Dad said, "That's it. Open your eyes. What do you think?" Dad had opened the driver's side of the brown bomber and was standing with one arm pointing the way inside. In the middle of the dashboard, to the right of the steering wheel, something real big was sticking out. Dad had taken one of our giant towels and set it over the thing. Everybody stood there staring. Finally, Mama said, "Daniel, what on earth is that towel doing in there?" "The towel's fine, Willona. Aren't you wondering what's underneath it?" "Yeah, Dad, what is that thing?" I asked. "Well, Kenneth, since you seem to be the only one with any curiosity, I guess you'll be the one who gets to unveil the bomber's latest edition." I crawled into the front seat and raised a corner of the towel so no one but me could see what was under it. I couldn't believe it. "Dad, it's great!" The rest of them, Byron included, crowded up to the brown bomber's door. Mama had a worried voice. "What have you done to this car now? Daniel, what's under the towel?" I grabbed a corner of the towel. "Ladies and gentle!" Byron interrupted me when he saw I was going to tease them. He said, "Oh, man, just pull the blank towel off so I can get out of here. I ain't got all day to listen to your mess." He was always in a hurry to get out of someplace, but never had anywhere else to go. "Byron, how many times have I told you about saying ain't and Kenneth? You stop that playing and move that towel this minute," Mama said. I talked real fast before Mama could get any madder. "Ladies and gentlemen, the newest edition of the Brown Bomber!" I whipped the towel aside. "Our very own drive-around record player." Mama went, "Oh my gosh," and gave Dad a dirty look, then walked back into the house. Joey squealed, "Oh boy." Even cool old Byron forgot how cool he was and screamed out, "Oh man, this is too hip. No one's got one of these. Speedy don't even have one in his Cadillac. Too much, man, way too much." Joey and Byron climbed into the car on either side of me. We all said, "Turn it on, Daddy." I knew Dad was kind of disappointed by the way Mama had acted. She really hurt his feelings by walking off like that. Some of the time, I think she forgot how sensitive Dad was. Even though he acted all cheery with us, I knew it wasn't the same for him now. I knew if Mama had stayed and hadn't gone off mumbling about money, we would have been having a lot more fun. But Dad forgot all this stuff real quick and got excited about showing off the record player. Dad was like me. He loved putting on a show, or as Mama said, we both love acting the fool. Dad was the best at it, though, and I couldn't wait until I was as good as he. "Well, well, well," Dad said, leaning down into the car. "I see you three have the ultimate taste. I see you've chosen the top of the line, the cream of the crop, the True Tone AB 700 model, the Ultra Glide." We had to, because right on the front of the record player in big red letters it said, TTAB 700 Ultra Glide. As I'm certain you are aware, the problem in the past with this new technology in automotive sound has been road vibrations interfering with an accurate dispersal of the phonic interpretations. Huh? Byron said. Dad said, in other words, I'm sure you know that in the good old days, every time you drove over a bump with one of these things, a needle would jump and scratch the record. Me and Joey played along. We know. And, as I'm sure such a fine, intelligent-looking family as this one, it is Mr. and Mrs. Watson and your son, isn't it? Oh, no, Joetta said, pointing at Byron. This isn't our son. This is just a little juvenile delinquent boy that we feel sorry for and let him follow us around some of the time. Our real son has hair. Even this didn't bother Byron, who was amazed by the Brown Bomber's latest edition. Dad kept imitating the guy who sold him the record player. Yes. As I'm sure a nice family like this one is aware, it was only last year that the scientists at Automatic Industries made a brilliant, beautiful, breathtaking breakthrough and developed a suitable system for controlling these vibrations. Yeah, I said. I saw it last night on the news. Walter Cronkite said it was a miracle. Dad said, precisely, Mr. Watson. Walt has 2 of these babies in his car and 1 on his motorcycle. We know. Yes, the vibration problem has been overcome by the exclusive vibrodynamic lateral anti-inertial dampening system. Dad had memorized that word because right on the front arm of the record player it said VDLAI dampening patented. Come on, Daddy, turn it on. Stop teasing. Now, Miss Watson, be patient and tell that little delinquent that follows you around that if he touches one more knob on that record player, I'm going to pull his fingers off. Byron mumbled and sat back in the car. Before I dazzle you with the symphonic sound of this unit, let me point out some of its less appreciated features. Oh, please do. Oh, man, just turn the blank thing on. If I got to listen to all this jive, I'm going to go in the house and get some real cool sounds. Byron opened the passenger door and ran in the house. Now, Mr. and Miss Watson, I'd like to direct your attention to the rear of our classic automobile. Me and Joey crawled up on the back seat and looked at the back window. On the rear shelf, a hole had been cut and was covered with the same stuff that's on the screen door. I can see you're wondering what that is. Well, let me explain. What we have here is, believe it or not, a second speaker. And I can tell by that intelligent look on your face, Miss Watson, that you have grasped that speaker is not placed on the rear deck haphazardly. No, ma'am. Some people just think we have a hole hacked in back there by any old mechanic. But nothing could be further from the truth. That opening is scientifically and mathematically positioned by a factory-trained technician to enhance the TTAB 700's true high-fidelity sound. Wow! Byron exploded through the front door with an armful of 45s and Mama right on his tail. Byron Watson, don't you stop on those stairs like that, and don't you slam that screen door. She trailed Byron all the way to the car, fussing at him the whole way. I knew she was using Byron as an excuse to come back out and see what was going on. I guess all the laughing and fun we were having had made her want to join in. Now that she was back, Dad started really cutting up. Well, Miss Watson, Dad said, but not to Mama, to Joey. I see your beautiful young daughter has decided to join us, and not a moment too soon either. Why don't you scoot over a bit and let her in? Joey loved this chance to pretend she was Mama's mom. She patted the seat next to her and said, Come on in, honey, this is really cool. Mama slid in under the steering wheel with a halfway smile on her face. Wonderful, Dad said. Byron lifted the record that was already on the turntable and started putting on one of his own cool songs. Put it back, son. You'll get your turn. First, we have a special request from a certain young lady to a certain handsome young man. If you'll excuse me, ma'am, I'll just reach over here and get this show on the road. Dad reached over past Mama to start the car, but on the way, his hand kind of accidentally on purpose brushed her chest. Boy, did they think we were blind. Even though Dad thought he was being slick, everybody saw him. Mama puckered up her lips to squeeze down a smile. Oops. Sorry, guys. Hang on. Mama puckered up her lips to squeeze down a smile and crossed her arms over her chest. Joetta giggled, and me and Byron scrunched our faces up. Mama did a fakety little slap at his hand and smiled. Dad turned the key and the brown bomber fired up. "Okay, young lady, here's that special number you requested." Dad couldn't help himself and started imitating a disc jockey, a DJ. "Here's the man with the patter, here to spin the platter. Why, it doesn't matter, 'cause the world's getting fatter. I'm the man with a tune that'll take you to the moon, that'll make your poor heart swoon. I'll hold you like a spoon. I'm the man with the jive." Byron chirped up. "Ain't that the whole natural truth?" But Dad didn't miss a beat. "Put your love thing in drive, put your little word alive." Mama slapped the car seat. "Daniel, stop that record." All right. Dad stopped his rhyming, but not because Mom told him to, but because I bet he ran out of stupid poems. But first, let me tell all of you people out there in Radio Land that this number was requested by Miss Willona Sands for the wonderful, wonderful man in her life, the big daddy of love, Daniel Watson. We at Flint's only soul station, WAMM, dedicate this song to Daniel from Willona. Spin it, maestro. Dad reached over past Mama to start the record player. Joey grabbed my arm with one hand and squealed into her other. Byron was grinning like a giant, bald-headed kindergarten baby. Mama still had her arms crossed over, but was starting to smile. She brought one hand up to cover her mouth. My foot was tapped on the brown bomber's floor a mile a minute, and I couldn't make it stop no matter what I did. I guess I was grinning pretty hard, too. Dad's hand touched a knob that had "Start" written on it, but before he pulled his hand back and said, "First, however," we all screamed, "Daddy! Aw, man! Come on, Dad! Daniel!" But Dad wasn't through yet, and you couldn't rush him. In fact, the more you complained, the longer he'd take. He put his hand up to stop the noise. "But first, we at WAMM want to apologize to the 9 other women who called in requesting love songs we dedicate to Daniel Watson. If they stay tuned, we'll play their favorite songs later in the evening." Mama said, "That's it," and started climbing out of the car. It was a fun "that's it," though, and not a serious one. Dad blocked the door and finally turned the knob that said "Start." Then he got into the back seat. We all froze. Even the brown bomber seemed to get quieter as the VDLAI arm from the record player lifted itself and moved towards the 45 that was on the turntable. The arm dropped and a little hollow boom bounced around the car. A moment of silence, and then the most beautiful notes of music I'd ever heard came from the front of the car and the back of the car at the same time. The notes were so deep and strong, it felt like we were sitting inside a giant bass fiddle. Mama screamed and put both of her hands over her mouth. She'd recognized her song after the first couple of notes. The guy on the record started singing, "Under the Boardwalk," and I had to turn around and look because it sounded like he was right in the back seat with Dad. We sat in the car for almost 2 hours as everybody got a chance to go in the house and get their favorite records. Even though we had a pretty good record player in the house, it couldn't compare with the sounds that came from the scientifically and mathematically put in speakers that the brown bomber had. The Ultra Glide cast a spell on all of the weird Watson. Byron was always saying that Mama couldn't stand to see anyone having too much fun, but to be fair to her, I have to say that she stopped us from having fun in steps instead of doing it all at once. First, she thought the music was too loud and made us turn it down some. Then, after all of us kids got to play 4 songs each, I played Yakety Yak all 4 of my times. She made us get out of the car, and she and Dad played Nat King Cole and Dinah Washington and other mushball singers. Then she said to Dad, "Did you tell them yet?" Oh, no. I leaned into the car to get a look at Mama's stomach. This sounded like the way Byron and me found out we were going to get his sister. Everybody's ears jumped. Something big was going on. Dad wasn't too comfortable with things like this and said, "No, it can wait." "No, it can't." Mama let the last song finish and said, "Turn it off, Daniel." "Children, in a little bit, Daddy's going to get some vacation time, and we're going to drive to Alabama. Grandma Sands is going to keep Byron for the summer, and if things don't work out, he'll stay for the next school year." This was too good to be true. A long trip in the brown bomber and no Byron for the whole summer? And probably for the whole year, because when it came to Byron, nothing ever worked out. Byron looked at Mom and Dad with his mouth wide open. "We've been telling you, Byron. You've been given warning after warning and chance after chance to straighten up. But instead of improving, you're getting worse. Do I have to remind you of the things you've done just this last year?" Byron still didn't close his mouth. Mama started ticking off the things that Byron called his latest fantastic adventures. You've cut school so much that Mr. Lums has come here 3 times to see what's wrong with you. You've been lighting fires. You've been taking change out of my purse. You've been in fights. You had that trouble up at the Mitchell's Food Fair, and you had that problem on Marianne Hill. You set mouse traps in the backyard for birds. You fell out of that tree when you were trying to see if that poor cat always landed on its feet. You got that conch? You joined that gang? There's just too much, Byron. We can't have all this nonsense going on. I hope those weren't the only latest fantastic adventures that Mama knew about. I could list about 100 more. That's why Grandma Sands is going to look after you for a while. You're about to run us crazy. Mama changed the tone of her voice. You're going to like Birmingham, Byron. It's a lot different than Flint. There are lots of nice boys your age down there who you can be friends with. There's lots of fishing and hunting you can do. Things are a lot better there. I love that city. Your grandma tells me it's quiet in our old neighborhood. She says that stuff on TV isn't happening around her. It's just like I remember it being. It's safe, it's quiet, and there's no butthead. Mama and Dad had threatened to send Byron to Grandma Sands about 1,000,000 times, but we never thought it would happen. This was for 3 good reasons. The first reason was that Alabama was about 2 million miles from Flint, and By knew Mama wouldn't let him ride the bus that far alone. He also knew it would be just about impossible for her to sit on the bus with him for 3 days it took to get there. The second reason was that Mama and Dad were always threatening to do stuff to Byron that everybody knew they wouldn't do. Dad had been keeping a countdown on how many more months it would be before they could force him to join the army, but we knew they wouldn't do that. But the biggest reason Byron and Joey and me thought they'd never send him to Alabama was because we had heard so many horrible stories about how strict Grandma Sands was. The thought of living with her was so terrible that your brain would throw it out as soon as it came in. Well, Byron's brain had better get used to it. We all knew by the way they'd gotten the bomber ready and by the way Mama's voice sounded that they meant it this time. The big, cool baby finally shut his mouth and ran inside the house. He slammed the door as hard as he could, and we all heard him say real clear the S word. Joey said, "Ooh!" Dad started to go in after him, but Mama said, "Let him go, Daniel. He better get as much of that nonsense out of his system as he can. Grandma Sands won't be putting up with any of that mess." All right, guys, that's the end of Chapter 8.